Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Cobra Pearl back at it again. And today, I'm back with my friend Dino, and we're talking about spoilers for Flesh and Blood Monarch. Man, Dino, say hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey. This last 2 days have been sleepless for me. The FOMO is real. I tried to stay up as late as possible just to get all the spoilers out. How about you? How's it been?
I'm also not sleeping for other reasons.
Hey, everyone, congratulate Dino because he got a new baby. Hit it in the comment section down below. So since the last time we spoke from this video, we looked at the two legendary shadow cards that are coming out, Doomsday and Eclipse. They've been a ton of cards spoiled so far, so I'm not really going to go speak about individual cards, but the man himself, James White, the creator of Flesh and Blood, uh, wrote up an article, and it's really interesting, and there's a lot of topics that I want to touch base upon, and it's titled Hidden Talents. And at the very beginning, James White goes on this big blurb about how Monarch is going to be a limited product, right? And you draft and sealed. How unfortunate that this product is coming through a pandemic. I mean, Canada already topped the U.S. today at the time of filming as the most COVID cases in one day over the states. So I don't think personally draft is happening in North America, period, until maybe fall, winter time. I mean, in Toronto, we're already going under a third lockdown. It's nuts. Um, but I think sealed could be potentially interesting. We've had a few sealed events in the Discord. The only issue is like trying to get packs to people, shipping prices. It's very messy of a situation. How do you feel about this, Dino?
Yeah, I mean it's great to see that they're evolving the game, making this set a better limited experience, especially for draft,
Yeah, for
which
sure.
James talks about. I think the model moving forward that they will have to go for to sell packs and move that move the needle on limited is basically sealed because it can still be done remotely, and then they're going to have a skirmish model to kind of temper the idea of cheating. Because
Yeah.
if you come from the other games and you know how sealed pre-releases work, how sealed in general works with the amount of prizing there is, if we're talking about prizing in the form of first edition Monarch packs, there's a lot of stakes there. People are not going to be as forgiving. I'm worried about, there being some lack of civility and a lack of patience for technical issues and things like
Yes,
that.
for sure.
So I think the best model would be the skirmish model where they're encouraging you to buy the packs, get your collection up, but they're also giving you something spicy on the side just for participating.
Participating.
And or frankly, whether it's spicy at release and then devalues later, I don't really care. It's just a
Exactly.
nice gesture to get people out there. But I do want to say that one thing about skirmish is I didn't like that there was the reward was only for playing the one game, and a lot of events deteriorated because we had a lot of drops.
uh,
Um,
200 player events dropping down after round one to what, 50, 60?
Yeah, and I mean it was built into the system. Also, people were chasing it from different areas. So like you were literally playing like three events in North America, and then if you had the time, you were
Yep.
going to the European events and so forth. I think they need to region lock the events for the prizing to encourage people to play within their own region, and then they also need to up it to like two complete games, maybe even three complete games. I know that might not be popular with some people,
Yeah.
but if you were going to go to a store and play a sealed event, you would be committing like 3 to 4 hours anyway. So I don't think it's too much to ask for people to do that from home. If
Yeah.
anything, when I work from home, I'm more productive. So you should be more productive when you're playing from home.
I mean, I agree with that. Increasing the rounds to play in order to qualify for the raffled prizing. I don't know how I feel about region locking it. I know we've discussed this in one of our box break videos. I've had a blast interacting with people from all around the world and actually kind of testing my skill against them because I feel like everybody in different regions get used to what they're doing, and you get to see a different flavor of how to
Yeah,
play stuff, right?
I didn't say that lightly. Like I really enjoy the international flavor, and
Sure,
that was a great thing. Maybe it was I'm jumping too fast at that as being a solution.
sure.
Um, but it sucked to have events taken up by North American players in Singapore, for example, or even in Texas, or then in Europe, and
Sure.
then having those prizes shipped over. I think it's also a logistical nightmare for LSS that they probably want to avoid.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
there might be like a almost like a passport concept where you play at least one in every region to qualify for a specific participation
Sure.
prize, like
Yeah.
a global series. That would be good.
Yeah. You get a stamp and you get a prize. For how many. Um, So, I mean, an update about that. I know a member in our Discord participated in an EU event and didn't get his mat. His mat is here. It was shipped from Germany, so that's all. LSS took care of him, and all that's good. Um, so, within this hidden talents article, they James White introduces talents. Right, titles things, hidden talents, talents, and talents is something that's really interesting because it brings a different flavor to existing classes in this situation, and they do give an example. They did break a new hero last night. A Everyone was hyped in the Discord. It was nuts. Like people were like, you know what? I'm gonna play this hero. This is the best, and we don't even know the other three heroes, and everyone's jumping on board of this. And her name is Levia, Shadowborn Abomination. Bomb. So what makes her interesting is that she is a shadow brute. So the talent is shadow, and then which kind of brings a different flavor to an existing class, which is brute. And everything's in this article, so I'll have it in the description box below. But quickly, what makes her a brute is that power and strength rules all. So, 6 attack cards are super important. And then her reckless nature. We know that in brutes, they roll with their scab skins. They roll, re-roll with the gambler's gloves to get those intimidates. So that's what the brute aspect of her. However, the shadow aspect is that she's able to play stuff from her banished zone, right? So anybody who's shadow can play stuff from their banished zone, and you can see that shadow is right now from Demonstera, if I'm pronouncing that right. Am I pronouncing that right?
I call it the monastery, but
The monastery. Sorry, hey, my bad. And then there's another talent that we'll talk at a later date called Light, and that's obviously Solana, Dory Bay. Hey, I see you. You're the best. But Solana is the light in this situation, and I believe Monarch is just focusing on these two, Light and Shadow, as talents, and then moving forward, there's 8 regions, so they're going to talk about 6 other regions in coming sets and 6 other talents popping up, right? Um, hey, she's wild. How do you think about her? What do you think about her?
I mean, there's so much to talk about here. The two main points I want to make
Yeah.
that I think are critical is this was super nice to see because it showed me that they're going to be able to keep the non-rotating model going forward by having these restrictions.
Yes.
And basically, Shadow is a brand new flashy thing, but it's also a restriction and allows them to playtest her in a box against an existing meta, and
Yes.
then see how she modifies that meta without having to worry about all the brutes getting access to all the new cards they're printing for her, and all the other heroes, in the same vein.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see how they're doing that. And then the other part is, I guess, she's an existing hero, so we might have a new class, we might not have a new class. Like we might be having two
A.
classes that are going to be for each region of the Monastery and
Yes.
Solana. I think they're going to keep it symmetrical, so I'm guessing at either a wizard or a rune blade for the monastery. We already have, our just Runeblade buddy, Viserai.
We'll talk about that
Um,
later.
so maybe it'll be Wizard, and then Solana I think is getting probably Guardian or or perhaps a light Runeblade will go to Solana, so that each side can have a arcane damage and a regular damage hero.
Yo, so instead of dealing damage, it would get you health, like a healer type of thing.
Something like that, yeah.
Yo, that's wild. Okay, I mean put those guesses out there. Do you think that we could have another class? Like instead of
Yeah,
like a hero,
yeah,
do you
yeah.
think like we could have a class, like a new class? Because everyone, based off of this article, people are just like, no, we're not getting a new class. This is done. We're gonna get just 4 new heroes. Like, I mean, the possibility is endless, essentially, right?
For sure, for sure. But I do think we might get like a shadow alchemist and then a plain alchemist in the future.
Sure. So there's one key point that I want to say, and I think Dino touched base upon this. Shadow brutes can use brute cards. So Beast Within, Barraging Bighorn, everything. However, it doesn't go the opposite. So like Kaio and Reinar cannot use Endless Maw, Shadow of Blasphemet, Tome of Torment. Those two Shadow Brute action cards, right? And you can see that it's Shadow Brute based off of the border action. The regular Brute kind of looks like more woody, and we'll look at that down below. But this one kind of has like a pink and purple hue-ish, and it has like eyes, so that's kind of showing that it's a Shadow Brute. Down below, as you can see, light is Solana, shadows Demonastery.
Fable hunters are going to unpack a whole bunch of innuendos out of that statement you just made.
Yeah, come on, you know what it is. Pink Snatch. They did not forget about our existing heroes, so they are putting out a few cards that Kaio and Reinar can make, and this example is Pulping. And it is a wild card. Read it. The one observation that I have to make is that a lot of these brute cards have no block. So you're swinging for the fence, like it does crazy damage. Like this one's doing, you can do go again, dominate. Like you're swinging for the fences, but it has no defense. So you really have to make these choices. So I think that's the nice balance in between the two. And I guess quickly, before we end this video, let's talk about Blood Debt, because we talked about Doomsday and we talked about the other legendary Eclipse, and we're like, Blood Debt, what the heck is this? So Blood Debt is essentially at the beginning of your end phase. If a card with Blood Debt is in your banner zone, you lose 1 health, right? 1 life. So it is a suicide mechanic. However, Levia, her ability is if a card with 6 or more damage has been put in your banner zone this turn, cards you own with Blood Debt during this phase, you don't have to pay the life. So that's where we kind of like work in between that thing. So I think that's super dope. What do you think, Dino?
Yeah, so this is the second component of like that balancing aspect where you might think Levia having access to all the brute cards is amazing, but clearly she's not going to be as good if she doesn't use her shadow brute cards,
Yeah.
and she's also going to be playing like tier 2 Reinar because she can't intimidate off of his ability. So it really shows the importance of abilities in heroes here, which
Yeah.
is wonderful to see because it kind of lets you stay committed to those heroes of the past, since Monarch is going to be all about the new heroes. Like if you're coming into the game in Monarch, or if you're looking to experience Monarch in full and
Hmm.
benefit from all the cards you open, you will have to pick up a new class. But
Yep.
your old classes that for us established players or people coming in that just like the old school vanilla style characters without the shadow talent, there's going to be a benefit to us playing that. And then I also really like on the blood debt point is that it's very thematic. It's kind of like it's easy to get blood debt, but you get punished for it, kind of like
Yep.
Suicide Black for the Magic players. And it's thematic in the sense like you can give in to your demons, but there's a price.
Yep. You
Whereas
got to
like
pay. Yeah.
I'm guessing the soul mechanic is going to have big payoff, but be very difficult to acquire. Almost like living a life of piety is a lot harder than just giving in to all your vices.
Yeah.
So I really think that's cool in flavor terms.
I guess we'll see how that plays out. I mean, they've had a few light cards. I mean, in the Discord we call it Papa Strike. There's that crazy tome out there that's like draw 2 cards or something like that, but it's like 4 costs. But haven't been a lot of light cards, so I feel like later on in the weeks we'll see more of that. I think they're trying to flesh out this kind of shadow piece. The one thing before I want to talk about before I leave, they made it abundantly clear. Viserai, even though he has that Demonastery border because he's from there, he is not, I have to say, he is not going to get a shadow piece. It says here he is just a rune blade. So always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Feels bad. I feel bad for Viserai. Bro, it's tough in these streets. Um, so, guys, keep it locked in the Flesh and Blood spoiler section. Every day there's new spoilers, and the FOMO is real for me. I want to sleep, but I can't because I just want to know. I want to absorb everything. I also have Levia's story in the description box below. It is amazing. I have to say this again. They need to get these books or lore into a book, paperback, $10 bucks, $15, and get them into the hands of the people because if you are invested in reading about these heroes, then you're gonna play them. Is my
I'm
opinion.
ready for the novels. Like I think they need to bring in some high tier writers, or give one of their up and coming writers that's established this
Yep,
an opportunity to get a publishing deal and put out, like, storybooks and
that's
get
it.
this franchise going, like, on all cylinders.
Because if you read it, it's very in depth and amazing. Um, Dino and I are gonna reconvene at a later date, and we're gonna talk about Flesh and Blood, and we're gonna talk about what's happening. Probably not about specific cards unless they're like game breaking, and we really want to talk about it. But until next time, stay safe, stay dry because it's raining in the springtime in Toronto, and don't touch your faces. Catch you next time. Peace.